Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Angryaa. Today I'm going to be talking about a character build I've been playing recently on stream that I think is very powerful. That's called the Bladefall Blood Magic Totem Marauder. Now this character is strong, tanky, but still packs a wild punch, clearing maps and content very quickly. And honestly, this is a character I've been very proud in making because it just feels like it has very few weaknesses, if any at all. I think largely this is because Bladefall is an incredibly powerful skill at the moment in Talisman League, and it's very hard to build the skill poorly. It just does so much damage, it's just so easy to use, and this character just seems like a lot of fun. So yeah, this character, it's cheap, but scales very well into the late game. It's easy to play, it's really hard to make a mistake with this character. It's double totem blood magic. And Bladefall, maybe it's a little overpowered, I don't know. For hardcore, I've just been stacking a lot of strength and life. You can see my character, he's just level 80. He's already, got 5,000, over 5,000 life quite easily. This is going to scale into the late game to 6, even 7k. For softcore, maybe you can adjust the character and add in some magic find. Anyway, how does this character work? And why have I created this build in the way that I have? Firstly, I've been noticing in the meta lately that elemental damage is not as good maybe as it used to be, especially with new options. The reason for this is when you roll maps that you can get like a lot of like different elemental damage resistance mods. Monsters can have innate resistance, and like you've got to use gems like elemental penetration, elemental weakness, and then if the map is curse immune, well, now your curses don't work, yada yada yada. And especially for physical based builds like Bladefall, the elemental damage you're going to be doing is mixed, so it's very hard to specialize your elemental damage into one element. So I decided, instead of making a character that has their damage randomly nerfed depending on the map mods I roll and the monsters I fight, let's just make a character that can basically put in nearly any map that you've rolled and just destroy it, right? At the very least, go very carefully and clear it. So this is one of the reasons why I spec this character into double totems, right? Because totems, you effectively reflect immune, you don't have to worry about reflect, you can position very defensively, and on top of that, if somehow you screw up, you still got tons and tons of HP to take a hit. So this character looks very good in that regard. It's also blood magic, you can run blood magic mods. In fact, when I started to think about it, there's literally no map mod in the game you can't run. One map mod that might be a little bit dangerous with this character is Chain, but besides that, every mod in the game you can run. Obviously if you run like 5 damage mods you might die, but overall I'm amazed at this character. You could basically put in an unidentified, tier 10 map, and like you'll be fine, just play carefully, because like there's no mod that screws your character over, unlike most builds. So I really enjoy the flexibility of this character, and I feel like you'll save a lot of money in mapping because you're not going to have to use any currency to reroll the character. So the way this character works is I link my Bladefall in a 6-link tabula rasa to Poison, Control Destruction, Added Chaos, Spell Totem, and Concentrated Effect. And this just provides a huge amount of damage, none of which is elemental. So there's none of this, there's no problems with map mods. Now, I think a tabula is a good option because the character's so tanky, you can afford to run a tabula. I bought mine at Talisman Hardcore for like 17 chaos, it's very cheap right now. But if you get a lot of money, sure, you can get a 6-link Lightning Coil, a 6-link Belly of the Beast, a 6-link whatever. Will obviously be much better than a tabula, but it's a great starting item for mapping. All the way, you could probably do it all the way to level 90, no problem. So yeah. Now there are 2 other very powerful items. These items are not necessary, but they definitely improve the scaling of the build, particularly into the late game. And what these 2 items allow you to do is very easily scale your skills of strength. And since you're going to be stacking a lot of strength as a Marauder, this ends up being very powerful for your character. The first item that we use is a Dune Kabluari, aka the More Stick. Now the More Stick, what it does is it gives you increased damage per point of strength that you have. My Marauder at this point has about 750 strength, so that's a lot of extra spell damage. And the second item that's very key to this character is Repentance. Now Repentance is a new item that's recently being added, and it's got very high stat requirements, but for good reason. What Repentance gives is a global Iron Will to all your abilities. Now, what does Iron Will do? Well, it's essentially like a level 1 Iron Will, so it doesn't give you like any extra spell damage except for the effect that your strength percentage increased melee damage now adds to spells. This is actually a huge amount of free damage, and effectively this becomes a 7th link for your totems. So instead of just having a 6-link totem in your tabula, you now have like a 7-link totem, just thanks to these Repentance Gloves. Now, equipping these Repentance Gloves is a real pain in the ass. Ideally, what you want in the late game, when you can afford it, is an Astromantis. Since Astromantis is going to give you 100 to all of your stats, or even over 100, it allows very easy stat requirements, not just for your intelligence for Repentance, but also for your Bladefall, which you're going to need about 150 dexterity at level 20. Not only that, of course, it gives you yet more strength, more life, more spell damage. So it's a very synergetic item. I only recently acquired an Astromantis, but if you don't have one, you just get a good rare amulet with very good stats and you should be fine. In the super late game, I think this build would excel, especially in hardcore, using an item like a 6-link Lightning Coil with Taste of Hate. Surprise, surprise, you know, most builds out there end up doing Lightning Coil, Taste of Hate, just because it means it's very hard for you to die in maps. There are some other options you could try. You could try the Totem Chest, Soul Mantle. It gives you 3 totems. Just run a couple of Curse Immunity Flasks, 1 or 2 of them. Now you can run triple Totem, and you could actually, with Soul Mantle, potentially get an 8th link in your totems, right? The 7th link being Iron Will, but you get a free Spell Totem link on a Soul Mantle, 6th link that up, and now you can throw in a whole nother gem, maybe increased area of effect, maybe something else. But yeah, I probably will never get a 6-link Soul Mantle or Lightning Coil, but I'm going to try and make some money, and hopefully I can acquire that. Either way, I've been incredibly impressed with this character. It's a very easy character to play, learn, and build. So if you want to try something strong and sturdy for hardcore, tough, that clears fast and doesn't need to worry about map mods, this might be the kind of character build for you. I hope you've enjoyed this build introduction. If you want to see more details about this character, just check out my player profile below. You can see the character I play with, as well as all characters I play with, their gems, items, and passives. If you want, that's all from me for today. If you want to see more of me, make sure to check me out on Twitter, YouTube, and my Twitch stream. See you guys next time. Cheers.